What up, Blue Devil Nation? Welcome back here to Real Life Sports segment Better Know a Blue Devil as we take a look at the recruits coming into 2020. I got Justin, Eric, and Taylor with me once again as we look at Jeremy Roach, the phenom point guard here, 5-star, number 4 overall point guard, number 18 overall, 6'2", 180 pounds, out of St. Paul VI Catholic High School in Virginia. Taylor, you're a fan of this recruit here, replacing Trey Jones, the outgoing point guard.
Yeah, I think Coach K will really be looking for Roach to fill that point guard role, be that leader, that first line of defense for their team. Roach chose Duke over some very competitive schools: Maryland, UNC, Villanova, and UVA. Roach was even offered a scholarship by UVA at the age of 14. So hopefully he is the real deal.
Yeah, of course, every time we take someone from UNC is always a good day. Justin, here are your thoughts before we jump into the highlights.
Just like Taylor mentioned, we need to replace a leader, and we think that's one of Jeremy Roach's biggest attributes. He truly has exceptional leadership skills on the court, and he is a tried and true point guard, which is, again, something that we always love to have, someone that has those skills coming in.
Yep. All right. Let's look at the highlights here. Mixtape courtesy of the YouTubes. And Eric, we're seeing the guard skills here on display. The montage first, but I mean, this kid is explosive, getting end to end with speed, and lot to love here.
Yeah, he definitely has a lightning quick first step. He's demonstrated that he has the ability to do creative finishes with both hands. He can be a force going downhill. He can be a one-man fast break at times, especially stealing the ball coming off transition. But he also has the ability to find teammates in a half-court set too, which is a great ability. So I'm hoping that he falls into kind of like that Trey Jones role really nicely, where we like to see some defense turning into offense, but also in a half-court set being able to work with the other recruits, and especially on the pick and roll with if Jalen Johnson or the other big guys, he has to do that a lot too as well.
Another good look down low. We could keep going all day. I hope that's the highlights that we're going to be showing to you next year right here on Real Life. And we finally get to the aggressiveness off the dribble, something that was missing perhaps a little bit from our Duke offense last season. Justin, you're a fan of this piece of his game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's something that we've loved from point guards dating back to Jay Williams back in the 2000s, of a point guard who could drive to the basket, can either score or has the vision to then dump it off to our wide open 3-point shooters. And so it's exactly what we want and we need, and we think that that'll really mesh with the type of players that we have around him as well. And the other big piece is it's really great to see that he was able to bounce back from a knee injury in his junior year, and he still is extremely aggressive. So he hasn't lost any of that confidence, which can occasionally happen after a serious injury. So that's just another positive for Jeremy Roach.
Here we have a little bit of evidence of the 3-ball. We've been asking a lot of our guards lately to be able to shoot from the outside. We know that Trey Jones came back for his sophomore season to improve his 3-point shooting, did so dramatically, much higher percentage here this year, but looks like Roach here has a bit of a 3-ball, which would be really nice to open up the floor, especially for some of the other recruits we'll be talking about later that are going to be a power down low. But we don't actually have senior stats. So Justin, you were reading that this may or may not be a strength.
Yeah, some people, again, this is just some talking heads on various different recruiting sites and NBA projection sites, they're not sure about the consistency more so of his 3-ball and his jump shot. It's definitely not his go-to, and it's not his strength. His strength is off the dribble, creating, getting to the basket, and using his handles to get past people and get his teammates involved. That's his true strength that we know. We'll see if the 3 that we saw in at least a couple of the highlights can translate into the college game, or if that's going to be something that he's going to shy away from a little bit.
I also love how hard he cuts off the screens. I feel like this is a classic Duke play. You bring the 4 or the 5 up to the top of the key, get the point guard to, come across that screen. Taylor, question for you as far as so he's a true point guard. We know Trey Jones is going out. Even Wendell Moore was playing some point guard this season. So how's the point guard position shaping up for the 2020 Blue Devils?
Yeah, I think Coach K has been high on Roach since his sophomore year when he performed very well at the Peach Jam, which is the biggest AAU tournament in the country. And since then, Coach K made it their Duke's priority to make sure that they made a good offer to him. And luckily, Roach did want to come to Duke. So I think he has the leadership skills. I think Duke really does need that point guard.
He has 2 gold medals so far. This kid can definitely play. Eric, one and done here, or is he? We're gonna looking at a maybe 2-3 year Duke player.
I could see him if he has a phenomenal year potentially going, where he would end up in, as a lottery pick, maybe lower end. I'd kind of heard, like you mentioned, he was 6'2". I think some people refer to him as not being at this point, like, the kind of NBA elite athleticism point guard you would like to see. But we've obviously had, 6'2", 6'3" guys, point guards make it to the NBA before. So I could actually see him going for at least 2 years, to kind of get his full development, especially if he comes in and has to improve his shot, kind of following that same track like Trey Jones is. And especially, maybe depending on how like the season goes, if we win a natty, maybe not so much to hold him back, But yeah, so I could reasonably see him staying at least 2 years.
I'm in the same boat. If he has a stellar season and can shoot the ball from multiple levels at a fairly decent clip, then he'll probably go to the draft. But if he doesn't and does need to improve on his shooting, I think that transition similar to Trey Jones, where he's going to have some mentorship with Jordan Goldwire this year, but then come his sophomore year, it's going to be his team. He's going to be the man. And so if that's something that he wants and if that's important to him, then he may stay for that second year. So toss up right now for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, I definitely think, Justin, it depends on whether he can improve his shot, because as we know, the NBA has turned into just really a pure shooting league. And as much as you think defense might matter, and Roach is a strong defensive player, I think it really will depend on the shooting as well.